After his grandmother passed away, Owen sifted through her belongings, expecting only sentimental keepsakes and dusty mementos from a long, quiet life. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. Instead, tucked among her forgotten possessions, he found something unusual: a metallic globe of the moon. Old, heavy, and cold to the touch. Its surface was covered with delicate engravings, both familiar and alien. She had never spoken of it, and no one in the family had ever seen it before. Still, Owen placed it in his living room, thinking little of its origin, but cherishing it for its mystery and the quiet connection to the woman who had once held it dear. One afternoon, a friend named Lizzie stopped by. She was a NASA scientist who specialized in lunar studies. Her eyes caught the globe immediately, and her demeanor shifted from casual to tense in an instant. Something about it disturbed her, fascinated her. Without offering a full explanation, she abruptly left, promising only to return the next day. Owen was left confused and unsettled, staring at the object as if it had just spoken aloud. Driven by curiosity and a growing sense of unease, he returned to his grandmother's attic, searching for answers. In the dusty upper floor of her house, amidst yellowed letters, brittle photographs, and forgotten trinkets, he found a small leather-bound journal. It was unmistakably hers. Leafing through its pages, he discovered a cryptic note dated around the time of the Apollo 11 mission. The message hinted that the globe contained hidden coordinates, something unseen, something secret. Racing home with a journal, Owen placed the globe under better light and noticed what he had missed before: faint letters and numbers etched into its surface. They appeared random at first glance, but clearly formed a pattern, a language coordinate. He called Lizzie and told her everything. The next morning, she arrived with tools to analyze the globe more thoroughly. As she worked, questions began to build. Why had his grandmother kept this hidden? Why had she never told anyone? Lizzie suggested something Owen had never considered: that perhaps his grandmother had once been involved in something secret, something far beyond what he had imagined. After scanning the globe, Lizzie decided to take it to her lab for deeper analysis, promising to keep Owen informed. The following day, Lizzie texted to say she had successfully brought the globe into NASA undetected. Meanwhile, Owen returned to the attic, driven by a desire to uncover more pieces of the puzzle. As he searched, his phone buzzed. It was not Lizzie, but an unknown number. When he answered, a calm but assertive voice introduced himself as Agent Hawkins from NASA Security. He insisted they needed to speak about an item recently discovered in Owen's possession. The tone was formal, the intent unmistakable. They arranged to meet the next morning. At the cafe, Agent Hawkins demanded the globe be handed over to NASA. Owen explained that it was no longer in his possession. Hawkins was unswayed, giving him 2 days to comply. As Owen processed the meeting, his phone finally rang again. This time it was Lizzie. She revealed that the globe had been forcibly taken from her lab by NASA officials. Now, not only had the object been taken from their hands, but it was clear that they had become entangled in something far greater than either of them had imagined. Realizing they were part of something much larger, Owen and Lizzie met in secret and devised a bold plan to gain access to the data hidden inside the globe. Pretending to cooperate with NASA, they arranged another meeting with Hawkins and were escorted into a secure facility where the globe was now being studied. Inside a highly restricted lab, surrounded by advanced scanning devices and monitors, Lizzie discreetly used a small hidden tool to begin extracting data from the globe, while Owen kept Hawkins distracted with questions about his grandmother's involvement. Unexpectedly, Hawkins softened. He admitted that Owen's grandmother was regarded as a legend within the agency. This revelation hit Owen hard. What had she done to earn such a title? What role had she played in NASA's secret history? As the data transfer device finished its work, Lizzie gave Owen a discreet signal, and they left the facility, now holding the digital key to a mystery buried for decades. Back at Owen's home, Lizzie connected the device to her laptop. The screen lit up with folders, encrypted and complex. As the files began to decrypt, Lizzie studied the images she had taken of the globe's surface. The coordinates pointed to a remote, largely undocumented location on the moon somewhere that had never been publicly discussed. As they waited for the full data transfer, the truth slowly unfolded. The globe wasn't just a model, it was a vessel, a device carrying highly classified information. With each decrypted folder, a new piece of the puzzle was revealed. Among the files was a series of documents suggesting that Owen's grandmother had planned to expose NASA's secret lunar missions operations that had been kept hidden from the public for decades. The implications were staggering. They were on the brink of unveiling truths that could reshape the history of space exploration. But before they could react, a knock at the door shattered the moment. It was Agent Hawkins. Owen opened the door slowly, already anticipating the presence of the man who had now become a looming figure in this unfolding mystery. Agent Hawkins stepped inside, his gaze immediately drawn to the laptop screen still aglow with decrypted files. His eyes narrowed. He didn't need to say anything. His expression said it all. He knew exactly what they had uncovered. The air grew heavier as he stood motionless for a moment, absorbing the scene. Then his voice, low and unwavering, cut through the silence. The information on that device, he said, was classified, critical to national interests, and most importantly, it was never meant to be accessed without authorization. He looked directly at Lizzie and told her, in no uncertain terms, that her job at NASA was on the line. Her actions were already under review. The data on the globe, he explained, wasn't just historic, it was a cornerstone of several top-secret initiatives dating back to the Cold War. Lizzie and Owen were given a stark choice: sign a non-disclosure agreement and hand over everything they had uncovered, or face consequences that could redefine the rest of their lives. The threat didn't need to be spelled out. Owen glanced at Lizzie. Her eyes, once bright with scientific wonder, were now clouded with concern. She nodded slowly, understanding the gravity of the situation. Reluctantly, Owen agreed as well. They signed the documents. Hawkins took a copy of the data, but, to their surprise, allowed Lizzie to remain involved under strict supervision. He acknowledged that her expertise would be invaluable, now that the data had been partially exposed. It was a strategic move to keep her on the inside, under control, but it also gave her access to even deeper layers of the mystery. In the weeks that followed, Lizzie found herself in a new role, no longer just a researcher, but now the lead scientist on what NASA had quietly dubbed Project Lunares. The initiative was buried under layers of bureaucratic red tape and obfuscation, its existence known to only a handful of people. Owen, meanwhile, was forced back into a life that felt painfully mundane compared to what he had just experienced. Yet he remained a silent partner to the mission, still receiving discreet updates from Lizzie whenever she could manage it. They communicated cautiously, using vague language and encrypted emails. Owen became obsessed with piecing together the fragments his grandmother had left behind. He delved into every journal entry, every old photograph, every letter he could find. Patterns began to emerge. Her writings revealed cryptic references to meetings with people she called the Circle, as well as to lunar events that never made it into the public record. The more he read, the clearer it became that his grandmother had once been part of an elite hidden cadre within NASA scientists and engineers who had uncovered something on the moon they were never allowed to speak of again. Back at NASA, Lizzie continued her work under constant surveillance. Still, she managed to uncover more about the location the globe had referenced. What she found was chilling. The coordinates pointed to a large depression near the moon's south pole, a place previously unexplored due to its extreme conditions. But the file suggested something was buried beneath the surface, something not natural. Scans hinted at geometric patterns and metallic anomalies too structured to be random. One document referred to it only as the vault. Digging deeper, Lizzie discovered internal memos from decades past detailing a secret expedition, Apollo 20. Officially, the mission had never existed, but the evidence said otherwise. It had launched in silence, landed near the vault, and had never returned. The last transmission from the crew was fragmented and ominous, warning of a sealed structure emitting unknown frequencies. NASA had erased the mission from history, destroyed its telemetry, and forced all involved into silence. Owen's grandmother had been on the analysis team for that mission. Understanding dawned on Owen in waves. The globe had been her silent protester, encrypted attempt to preserve the truth. She knew the vault was real, and she had wanted someone to find it someday. Someone she trusted. Now, through sheer chance or perhaps fate, it had landed in Owen's hands. The burden of that knowledge weighed heavily on him. Lizzie soon hit a wall. NASA's upper brass was blocking her from further study. Security around Project Lunares tightened. She was removed from the team without explanation. But before that happened, she had managed to extract one final piece of data set of pulse frequencies emitted from the vault location. They matched no known cosmic phenomena. Some believed they were a message, others thought they were a warning. Together again in secrecy, Lizzie and Owen began analyzing the frequencies. Their patterns resembled language structured, repeating, evolving. As the months passed, they worked in the shadows, away from the reach of government eyes. They fed the signals into advanced machine learning models, trying to decode what the vault had been broadcasting into the void for decades. Then, one night, the model translated a fragment. It was just a few words, cryptic and haunting. "We are waiting. We remember." The message struck them both with a mixture of awe and dread. Whatever was beneath the lunar surface, it was aware. Not alive in the traditional sense, but aware. Perhaps not even from Earth. Owen stared at the screen for a long time, thinking about his grandmother. The globe, the journal, the courage it must have taken for her to preserve that secret in the face of institutional silence. In the end, they knew there was only one course left. They would go public not with the raw data, which could be dismissed as fabrication, but with a story. The truth. A documentary was planned disguised as speculative fiction, weaving the tale of a woman, her grandson, and a mysterious lunar globe that defied all logic. It would be just enough to spark questions in the minds of the right people, just enough to reignite curiosity. And somewhere on the moon, the vault waited.